guys for a few weeks, so appreciate having me.
That's awesome.
All right, so
and where are you guys at, location wise?
I'm in Maryland.
Maryland.
Yep.
North Carolina.
Nice.
And then Jersey.
Jersey.
How about yourself?
I'm in Colorado.
Nice.
I used to live in Castle Rock.
Are you a
You did. It's
Yeah.
beautiful down there.
Oh yeah.
Now it's becoming part of the city. It's growing so much.
Can't get this glare. It's washed out.
It's the white background. Yeah. Can you put one of your fake backgrounds up?
Yeah. Where do we want to go today?
Oh.
You guys want a nice beach
There
background?
you go.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Yeah. Why not?
I just gotta be careful I don't fade into the back. Don't drown.
You're like, whoa.
It's a hurricane.
Oh.
All right. So just typing everything in on the Facebooks, the
geez.
Book of Faces, and then we can get started.
Jeremy, I couldn't tag you on Facebook. I could only follow you too. Maybe that's why.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not on Facebook too often.
That's okay.
But there's probably old ex-girlfriends that I don't want contacting me. Just joking. Are we live? No.
Not yet. We are recording, but he can edit it out.
You going live to MySpace, Jeff?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Why would we not? All right. So at Jeremy Picker's not coming up, so we'll have to add him in later, or I'll just put at Jeremy. Or with Jeremy.
Yeah, I couldn't tag him either.
All right. Title. Sorry, guys. We'll be there in a minute.
All right. Okay.
5, 6, 20.
It's one of my favorites.
All right, so we're going to go live on the Facebook in 3, 2, 1. All right, should be live. All right, guys. First of all, just wanted to say thank you for being here. Welcome to another edition of the Industry Insider Podcast, where you can get all the promotional products, nerdy news you need to know about right here, either on promoshow.com. You can watch us live Wednesdays at noon, or you can catch us audio on promocorner.com or any of the many Facebook pages that are out there where our content is being broadcasted at. But first of all, my name is Jeff Franklin, a National Accounts Manager for Hidware USA. I am one of your co-hosts, and I'm joined by 3 other individuals today, 2 whom you are very familiar with, and 1 whom you may or may not be familiar with. But if you're watching live, it's that gorgeous-looking man down here. His name is Jeremy Picker. But Meg Erber, SNS Activewear, one of my co-hosts for sure. Stephen McFadden, Perfect Promotions and more.
Hello.
But before we jump into today's topics, guys, just want to talk to you about who we're brought to you by today. We are brought to you by promoshow.com. Over 130 exhibitors suppliers exhibiting in the virtual-only trade show experience on promoshow.com. Since its inception back in late March, there have been over 7,000 unique users contributing to over 30,000 page views. Tremendous volume coming through that portal. If you're not in there getting all the latest information from your favorite suppliers, what are you waiting on? And also, Bill Petrie asked me to put in this little plug. At the top of the Promo Show Facebook page, there's a Promo Show Facebook page too. All you got to do, go into Facebook and search at Promo Show PC, and that'll pull right up. There's a video on the top of the Facebook page showing you how to use promoshow.com if you haven't used it already. So get over there, check that out, take a look at it, and get yourself some education. All right. That being said, Jeremy, welcome to the podcast. You are our second official special guest. How's that feel?
Yeah. Following Danny, it's a little nerve-wracking. He's the legend, so when Meg hit me up, I was pretty pumped and listened last week, and Danny brought so much knowledge, man. I'm still new to the promo side of the business, so him, Mark Graham, Jamie Mayer, those guys I look up to, and so I'm just excited to be able to have a platform to talk about what I love to do.
Sure. Well, listen, man, I've been getting filled in on the back end from Meg a little bit, just with, your background and where you come from. So I'm sure you're a legend in your own right, and looking forward to hearing your story a bit. And just on that note, I do have a little bit of an introduction for you. Jeremy, you've helped
Right.
launch and grow merchandise for major label brands, and you're passionate about creating retail quality merchandise for the nonprofit sector to fuel fundraising efforts and expand awareness. You're also a cancer survivor and the founder of Estain, a premium quality accessory line to support cancer education. So hopefully that gets brought into the conversation a little bit as well, because I think that'd be really cool to hear about. But
Okay.
I'm going to turn the questions over to Meg. But before I do that, Jeremy, just real quickly, how did you get started in the promotional products industry, and why the hell are you still here?
Well,
Yeah.
first off, hold on. First off, Jeff, you need to work on your radio voice. I mean, you got the face for radio. Now we got to work on your radio voice.
I appreciate
Secondly,
that.
I was going to ask, no, I'm just kidding. I do want to just point in that Jeremy and I have actually never met in person. We just became Twitter friends. I was following him. I loved his energy, all the interesting posts he was having about decoration. And I thought he would be a really good addition to our group this week. I just love his energy. So yeah, Jeremy, tell us a little bit more about you and your background. I found it really interesting. I was Googling some pictures of you and I was like, oh.
When I had hair?
Well,
No.
I was going to ask you how if you were going with the DIY or if you were just letting it grow,
Jeremy, if it makes you feel better, I was not Googling pictures of you.
Thank you. I do feel comforted with that. So yeah, I've kind of been involved in the industry since the early 90s. My older brother is 11 years older than me, and he helped start a clothing line in Orange County back in the 90s. And so from junior high all the way through high school, every chance I got, I went out to California to help his brand sell merchandise at the swap meet or music festivals. And so he was the production manager, and all day, every day when I was there, we would go to embroiderers and dye houses and cut and sew factories. And so, for me, I just wanted to be around my brother. I had no interest necessarily in the apparel world. I wanted to be an engineer. Not sure why. After Calculus 2, I said, forget that. Fashion's a lot better, a lot easier. And, just being around it, I loved it. Through college, every summer I would get an RV, and me and a couple other guys would travel around the country, selling t-shirts at all the major music festivals. So, living life on the road, got that kind of retail live event side of the business. And after college, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And so I had school loans, and my brother connected me with a band merch company out of Nashville. And he let me come volunteer for a couple concerts, and he liked my work ethic. And yeah, he hired me back in 2002. And yeah, I lived on the road for 10 years selling band merch and loved it. Loved the whole industry. I can't sing, I can't play an instrument, but the merchandise and managing the money was how, I kept the wheels on the bus going around. So 2008, I was tired of the road. My wife didn't want me traveling anymore. And so again, I was at the same point, what am I going to do with my life? And I made decent money on the road. They paid for everything, and I didn't want just a normal job. So a buddy of mine who worked for the band merch company, he did the design and the sourcing of it, and he would send it to me on the road. At the time, I was working for an applique company that does a lot of the R&D for Abercrombie, American Eagle, Hollister, back when they actually did applique, and making $9 an hour, literally sitting at the laser all day, cutting out fabric, counting A's, thousands of them. And the whole time I was super, angry in the Phoenix traffic. And I loved about the fashion side. My mom's a seamstress, so I learned how to sew before I could swing a hammer. And I just was interested in asking the guys questions, on the production floor. They weren't necessarily into the fashion world. It was a job to them. But for me, I just wanted to soak it all up. And 4 or 5 months later, I hit my buddy up. I said, hey, man, I have this awesome source that we should pitch to bands. And he's like, I have a business plan to start a company. And a month later, I got into became an entrepreneur, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And then 10 years, 12 years later, I just celebrated my anniversary last week. And
oh, congratulations.
yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah,
thanks.
congrats.
I'm still in love with apparel. I love Pinterest,
I saw that.
fashion magazines, and on the promo side, I got into ASI I think 3 years ago.
Wow.
So what was just like looking at some of the people that you've met, because I'm really interested in like the whole your band life, like before the wife and kids and everything. Who was the most interesting person you met when you were on the road? Like, or maybe not interesting, but maybe wildest story you have.
Oh, wild story. I don't know if I can say that. There might be kids watching,
Okay.
but I think I toured with a lot of different bands. Some major label, some just garage band guys. And Dave Grohl, out of everyone I met, he's really good friends with my sister-in-law. And so for being one of the biggest rock stars, he's the most down-to-earth guy. I worked for bands that just had the biggest egos. They would not talk to their fans. Dave Grohl is a true rock star, and he's just down to earth. I remember, I think 5 years ago, I got to cook breakfast for him for Christmas.
Cool.
He came over when I was at my sister-in-law's, and I made him bacon, over easy eggs, some potatoes, and he came in a t-shirt and jeans, and yeah, it was a cool moment.
That is cool.
I'm not too much of a fanboy for most people. I've met a lot of people, but yeah, I was just like, oh my gosh, can I get a picture?
That's really cool.
That is really cool. So what's next, Jeremy? You're seeing what's going on right now. The last couple of weeks, we've all been kind of selling PPE material. It's kind of taken over. But with that being said, we are a branding industry. This is what we do. Yeah. What are you doing to get through April and May?
Well, most of my customers were restaurants and religious organizations. So overnight, they basically turned off the faucet of ordering merch. And, our pipeline went from a lot to a little within a week. And so we, the first couple of weeks, we were just scrambling to figure, like, are we going to be able to stay in business? The cash flow that we had and the business we had in the pipeline wasn't going to be enough to last a couple months. So, it was a roller coaster of emotions. Can I keep my team? How are we going to get past this? When's the next order coming through? And so, I think once the SBA, we were able to apply for the PPP loan, and we got it. Which was so awesome. A lot of people I know didn't get it. And so, it's a Band-Aid. It's to help with that payroll, help with some of the rents. But at the end of the day, we still got to get sales. And so once we started kind of getting interest in masks, I was posting stuff on LinkedIn, and I got a couple inquiries, one for 50,000 masks, another for 4 million. And I'm like, I don't know the first thing about sourcing masks, let alone medical stuff. And so me and my team we probably spent over 60 hours collectively within a couple weeks, just, trying to vet factories in China, figuring out, who had inventory, seeing all the ads online about, the government seizing shipments and not letting stuff across. And with no business, I had to pursue it just because we needed a sale. And after just thinking through everything and seeing the risk involved, we had to just, step away from the bid process or, trying to source it. Cause at this time, if even 50,000 masks, if something went wrong, if it didn't get delivered, if it got seized, and we would have to prepay all of it, I'd be out of business. So we turned those away and moved our focus to sublimated masks. We were doing some printed masks, but right now I feel like the word is diversification. I had everything in volume, wholesale, B2B. And when that shut off, we had no income stream. So a lot of it is how can I sell a t-shirt? It's not just, high volume. I have been researching, print on demand, company stores, any type of way we can sell a shirt or a product. We've been looking into it because, if something happens again, I can't put everything in one area. So I think right now I don't want to spread myself too thin, but I need to sell a shirt or a product any way I can. And even though I'm snobby in a lot of ways of, I've never been a super fan of DTG or print on demand, but I'm opening my mind to all of that just to help, the end customer. If they don't want inventory, I still want to be able to get a client.
So are you creating the masks in-house then, or are you sourcing them from reputable suppliers in the industry?
So we haven't been industry people. It's been a buddy of mine in California. He does a lot of private label for Tilly's and Ross. And so he has some sublimation factories in LA that he's been doing sublimation for a couple years now and pushing me on it. And I never offered it just because I don't have, my expertise isn't, embroidery and screen print. I didn't know much about sublimation. And so, sure. He was showing me all the masks that he's creating for some of his big clients. And I was like, all right, I trust you. I know that you are direct to the factory. And so I've been working through him to source everything. At the same time, everyone in our industry is starting to offer masks, and some of my overseas connections are doing it as well. But I think at first it was just the urgency of getting them out, because now turn times are getting a little crazy for everyone from what I'm seeing.
Yep. Stephen, how about you? Are you sort of seeing the same stuff with the face masks? I know you're selling quite a bit of them as well as manufacturing them.
Yeah. So we took a very similar approach, I think, to Jeremy did. We kind of weighed the options of, what type of risk are we willing to take, to get an order. And, there's a lot of opportunities in the very beginning. I think if you were early enough to jump on inventory that may have been around, but once you missed the first couple weeks and, everything started to be, pretty volatile with the timelines and the pricing structures constantly changing and the seizures and the custom orders, it became one of those things where we might be better off waiting, because if we put ourselves in a position where, we have to upfront tons of cash, as Jeremy mentioned, that wasn't going to be a good business strategy if, it doesn't deliver or something happens.
Right.
So we did shift a little bit to controlling our controllables, right? Which I think is what they say to do when you can. And we decided to make masks using our embroidery equipment once we were, 4 orders that we had and 4 actual on demand. And we were able to control our own timelines, and that was much better for us. We're starting to see an uptick in pretty much all the requests and quotes and stuff starting to come in, which for us is a good sign. So,
yeah.
Sure. How about all of you guys? Are you starting to see a little bit of a temperature change here? I mean, you obviously not with the fever, I hope, but
no, yeah. Well, yeah, I think initially we had at SNS, we had the Bella Canvas masks. They came out first for the first wave of masks. I think they answered a problem. They were a solution to a problem that we were having. Same as Jeremy, same as you are saying, that we trying to get something overseas, you basically had to give up your firstborn, risk it just to get those masks in. And then you're like, oh, I like my kid, but I really need masks. So you got to make that decision. So we answered that with the Bella Canvas masks. We sold millions. And now I feel like we have a second wave of masks coming in. And the reason why we're still doing that is because people are still buying them. And the reason they're still buying them is because these industries, these states are slowly starting to open back up. But with that, there's still these social distancing laws and rules in places. You must wear a mask. I mean, you can't even go to, so New Jersey just opened up their state parks this past week, but you can't go to the state park unless you have a mask on.
Yeah.
And you know what? These masks aren't surgical masks. They're not medical grade masks, but they serve a purpose. They protect, it's a barrier, you know, so everybody should be having something on. Whether you have something or somebody else, it's going to spread the transmission of the droplets. So yes, the Bella Canvas answered that first wave. Second wave, we've got about 5 brands in now that are slowly starting to trickle in, that offer different options, like the dye sublimation or 2 and 3 ply. And for youth, you know, what if, you know, New Jersey just ended the school year. I think other states had already done that, but when they do go back in the fall, are they going to be required to wear masks? You know, I think a couple weeks ago we asked, what's the first thing that you're going to do when this ends? And back then I was like, I just can't wait to go see my parents. But it's not like there's an end date, like, okay, the virus is over, no more virus. It's not like that. Like, that's how I think we were all just waiting for. My best friend is a trauma nurse at Lancaster General, and she's like, it's a war zone. This isn't going away for a year or two. It's not just going to go away. With the social distancing, it's going to flatten the curve, but it's not going to go away. So there's not going to be a day where I can just be like, hey, mom and dad, I'm going to come over and we're going to have dinner together. That's not going to happen anytime soon. It's just not. Yeah. And it's really sad. So we think because of that, there's going to be a high demand, still a high demand for masks and PPE material and hand sanitizers. So we're going to keep, you know, we're not getting away from the t-shirt business. That's still our bread and butter. But, you know, masks got us through April. And I'm hearing that from a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think, you know, you guys are all hitting the nail on the head, in my opinion, as far as, you know, there being 2 or 3 different waves of masks. I think the first one was just to meet that immediate need that people had to have something. I know New Jersey was probably one of the first states that I saw or was aware of where they were requiring face masks to go into essential businesses.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that everybody needs to sort of keep in mind is that they're source control masks. Meg, like you said, they're not surgical masks. They're not medical grade, but it is source control. You know, 25 to 50% of people with coronavirus or COVID-19, whatever the hell you want to call it, are asymptomatic or very mildly symptomatic. So ultimately, you know, I could have it. You know, all 4 of us could have it, and we could go out to a store without a face mask, sneeze on somebody, or just talk to somebody within a foot or 2 of them, and just the particles from our mouths or whatever could potentially affect them. Yeah. Even though we don't know we have it, even though we're asymptomatic, you know, we could be spreading it. That's how 25 to 50% of the transmissions are occurring. Yeah. And so ultimately, source control is the most important thing to preventing the transmission of the coronavirus. Now, it's my mask protects you, your mask protects me. It's not, you know, I'm wearing my mask to protect myself, because that's not what the masks are for. It's meant so that you, if for some unknown reason have coronavirus and are not aware of it, you're not transmitting the virus to somebody else. And so, yeah, I think as we return to somewhat of a normal state of things, I think face masks are, Danny Rosen even mentioned it, like it might even be like the new headwear. It's the new fashion piece. It's the new apparel piece that everybody's going to wear. You know, you've got, I can't remember who it was, and I apologize for not having this off the top of my head, but there was one of the lady presidents or something somewhere over in Europe. Okay. I don't know if prime minister or president, whatever. Okay. She was wearing like a nice purple dress and had a purple mask to match the dress. You know, I think it's going to be a bit of a fashion statement now. And so now that we've had that first wave of masks come through just to meet the initial need, now you're starting to get into decorated stuff. So, Jeremy, like you're talking about the sublimated, you know, and everybody's going to have, you know, 5, 10, 15 different masks. Yeah. So think about how many people that are out in the world, and everybody's going to have, you know, several masks, not just one. And they're going to be washable and reusable because they don't want to waste the money on the single-use stuff anymore. Yeah. You know, now that we've met that demand, so it's going to be all decorated stuff, and you're going to have to match your outfits, or it's going to be the new accessory. So, Jeremy, what do you think about that?
Can you wear like masks after Labor Day?
Well, this is actually part of our segue, because Jeremy was talking about this as well, because like he sells his designs basically. Like he doesn't want to sell just a front left T-shirt. It's all about designs and branding. So I'm going to let Jeremy, we were talking about this prior to this, so I'm going to let him take it, and then I'll add my 2 cents at the end.
I mean, kind of to touch on 2 of those things, the trends, I just came out with a really big trend report, and it was mainly, you know, streetwear, casual wear, you know, for 2020, what I'm seeing in the retail space. And just this week, I'm tasked myself, now I need to do a trend report on masks, because all the big brands are starting to put masks together. And like you said, it's not going to go away anytime soon. So people, just like shoe culture, you know, people want to match their outfits, or they don't want to wash it every day. So they want to have 4, 5, 6 at their house, so they can just throw one on and not have to, you know, keep up with that. So the fact that I'm doing a trend report on masks is crazy to me, but it's made out of fabric and there's stitching involved and people are putting it on their body. So I guess it falls in line with the reusable side. But, you know, one thing I was bringing up to Meg, and, you know, to preface, Bella is one of my favorite brands. They are the first brand I offer most of my clients. But a buddy sent me a picture from Target, and they're selling a 10-pack of the Bella masks, just blank, at the Target stores. And on the bottom, it said, you know, use one time and dispose of. And I thought that was interesting. I'm like, you sure about that? Because I'm going to go to their website and check that out, because everyone in our industry is like, hey, that's the easy, quick, cheap mask, and let's print a logo on it. And I went to their website, and it, you know, talks about single use. And so, you know, I was really thinking of, I'm the anti-tchotchke, you know, I don't want, and Danny used the word last week, and Jamie Mayer is another promo guy that they talk about brand fill of that one-time use product that gets thrown away and all the resources that go involved. So I thought it was interesting that, you know, Bella being very eco-friendly, kind of environment conscious, that all this labor, you know, they're just cutting it out. No humans are sewing it and stuff like that. But once it gets to the printer, you know, if they're using plastisol ink, if they're using adhesive on their pallets, like all of that is being put on a mask that, you know, is going to be thrown away. And so it almost becomes, you know, they're the boutique brand. They're the shirt that you wear over and over again. But this mask, you know, and my buddy sent me another picture, and there was a Bella mask on the floor or on the ground when he was walking in the park. And so I just thought that was interesting. I don't know what y'all's take is on that, but I just, you know, there's a lot to go into a screen printed mask that if it gets thrown away, it's almost like that throwaway tchotchke that it becomes brand fill. But, you know, again, I love Bella. It was just interesting that they were the ones doing that when Tooltex, Next Level, all these other brands are, you know, making the 2-3 ply reusable. I even saw Tooltex working with one of the companies they bought, Uray, and they're just doing little heat transfers. So what do you guys think about that? I just thought it was,
I think they were smart to meet that initial need. You know, they got out there before most other people did, and I'm sure they sold a hell of a lot of masks because of it. And ultimately, I think that was, again, just to meet that initial need. Now that we're moving into phase 2 of the face mask, where they're going to be decorated and reusable and washable, I'm sure they're going to adapt to that as well if they haven't already. Meg, maybe you can fill us in there, but ultimately, you know, it was a short-term thing. It wasn't long-sighted at all, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I have to agree on that. I know Bella Canvas really prides themselves in providing more sustainable options, like in keeping the basic t-shirts out of landfill. So I think this was really hard for them to kind of make a push on something that would be thrown away. I know I definitely reached out to them because we were talking about decoration, and I'm just going to kind of read this, but they still are recommending that these be used for daily use and be discarded afterwards for sanitary purposes. However, since they are made from the Bella Canvas 3001 and 3001 CVC, they can be washed and they can be decorated if required. Again, you can decorate a t-shirt and you can wash a t-shirt. So just keep that in mind. They caution decoration placement to be off to the side by the cheek so the wearer doesn't directly breathe in the chemicals used for decoration, including the sticky stuff, the inks, etc. Okay, so heat transfers and embroidery are probably the best and safest decoration methods, and they recommend ironing the masks after wash for sanitizing.
Did you say embroidery?
I mean,
wouldn't they put holes in the mask?
If it's a single layer like Bella's is,
yeah, side maybe. But
and
that's why I tell people not to embroider their cooler bags. You know,
I know, or your rain jackets.
Stephen, when I had made my comment about that, you made an expression that sounded like you might have disagreed with what I had to say. So I want to get into that.
Yeah, it's not about what you said. I just disagree with the whole opinion. Just
He
in
just doesn't like
general.
you.
Yeah.
About meeting an immediate need.
Yeah, I think that here's the issue is our industry changed overnight, right? And in a situation where everyone was desperate, we're not in a position to get samples for our customers because you miss it. You know, we're not at getting full information. We're basically just saying we have masks. You have to order in 24 hours. You need 50% down. Do X, Y, and Z. And if you miss it, you're done. And I think there were some people that were very transparent with their customers and were like, "Hey, I don't know. I haven't had one of these in my hands. Like I can't tell you, but I can tell you the price probably means they're not going to be the most amazing max ever. It'll probably hold you over." But there's a lot of people who I've heard that are having issues now because they did use that as the end all be all mask, thinking it was a good solution. They had to act now, and they're stuck. And now their customers are like, "We need new masks. Like this wasn't a good solution for us." So yes, I think it met a need. I don't say it's bad for doing what they did because I love all solutions. I think right now any solution is a good one. I do think that there's going to be some there's going to need to be some brand recovery that happens afterwards, and or some PR issues that a lot of distributors and clients are going to have to figure out because they didn't communicate it well with their customers, or they feel like they were sold something lesser than they thought they were getting. Not that it's anyone's fault, but it is an issue that people are having. And I'm a part of a call that happens once a week with a lot of big companies, and there were several companies in there. Some were saying, yes, it was good because we were able to get enough information and present it to our customers. And other people were saying we didn't get enough information. Our customers are saying, "How dare you sell us this?" Right. So there's going to be some stuff that happens because of it. So,
the problem is that this is a product that was never really in our industry at all before this.
Yeah.
And so why I'm saying it was an immediate need was because it was an immediate need. People need something to cover their freaking face to be able to go into the grocery store. They met a need. It was very smart to do what they did. I don't think they're going to have to do a ton of PR or recovery or anything like that. I think look at the United States Surgeon General, for instance. When the coronavirus first came out, he said, "No, stop buying masks, you idiots." Okay. He said, "Save them for healthcare people because there's a shortage. You're going to cause a shortage."
Yeah.
And, and then he's had to almost in a way, because more information came out, backtrack in a sense to the saying that, hey, there is actually some legitimacy behind wearing a mask, but hey, do it this way. And the CDC is recommending that they do a 2-ply cotton or tight knit fabric, for source control. It's not for your own personal protection. It is for containing your ability to transmit something that you might have, and you may be asymptomatic to it. Now, obviously, there are some states that are starting to ban, I think, just the single ply, like they're actually requiring 2 or more plies. So I think that might be something that is, that comes out in the future, as more guidelines come out with the face mask. But it's something that wasn't there before. And so it was a very quick response.
I just want to chime in because I think you might have misrepresented what I said. I don't think Bella Canvas is going to have to do the PR issue. I think it's, as I said, distributors to clients. I think that's where a lot of people were getting hung up. I also think that if you looked at the recommendations by CDC and stuff like that, the cotton that's used in the 3001 isn't even the right density. It's not even the right material to even be the right piece because it is so thin. It is a ring spun. You're supposed to use a muslin, which has a higher density. So it was a solution, but I guess what I'm saying is like you can hold it up. I love the shirts, right? And I love the idea of a mask. I just think like you got to be careful of providing an end all be all solution. Millions of them.
That's where I'm arguing with you, is that it wasn't an end all be all solution.
I don't even think it's a solution at all, though. If it's fake, that's my point. Like if it doesn't work for anything,
something is better than nothing. People are using freaking bandanas to cover their face, for Christ's sake. It was
Exactly.
and
if you 9-fold a bandana, it has like 6 times the density of 1-ply 3001.
Those homemade masks.
Yeah,
so has a video of how to turn a bandana into a
wear
mask.
2 of the Bella Canvas masks, and then you've got a 2-ply.
Exactly.
There's your solution.
I mean, they're definitely comfortable, that not having that ear elastic, it's definitely comfortable. Yeah, it's just interesting. But what's crazy is we're all, like you said, we're all new to this. We've never sold this. You know, I'm an expert in t-shirts and other things. I'm still learning, and I think that's the frustrating part. We're trying to not only get orders, we're trying to educate ourselves on what makes a good quality mask, and then how do we even source it and get it to people on time. So I think, you know, that's a lot of the frustration we're dealing with is just, you know, I'm learning and I'm trying to give my customers expectations just because I'm like, it could take this long. Like, don't kill us. You know, these sewers are coming out to brave Corona to sew your masks. So have a little grace, you know, don't be so hard on like everything. And I'm dealing with that. But, you know, I'm not trying to deflect, but I'm like, hey, people are putting their health at risk to protect you. So like, you know, I know in California, there's a shortage of sewers, and, you know, not everyone can come back. One of my factories had 65 employees. They let them all go. They had 30 of them were sewers, and they've only been able to bring back 8, you know, because they're used to being 2 feet apart. Now they have to be 6 feet apart. You know, if there's anyone sick in their family, they can't come back to the factory. So, you know, in normal circumstances, if I'm late on a delivery, but right now it's like, it's unpredictable. If one person in that factory gets sick, that whole factory shuts down and no one gets their mask. So that's been a challenge of letting the customers know the possible ins and outs, which, you know, with our normal supply chain, it's, you know, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. So we are starting to run a bit long, but just want to chime in really quickly with Jeremy Witt had mentioned on Facebook with a relatively long comment. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically he just wanted to chime in and say that he and a few of his friends were actually talking the other day, and they really don't seem to think that schools are probably going to return until, 2021, if that. I don't necessarily know that that's going to be the case, but I think social distancing where possible is going to be definitely something that is enforced within schools. And I think masks are going to be an immediate need for schools as well. That's why, you know, anybody that's developing masks, you know, like, you know, Bella or Headwear or anybody else that's out there that's doing masks, there are youth sizes that can be developed as well. I know Headwear's got one. Meg, I don't know if you guys have a source for youth or not yet, but
we do.
You know, I think face masks for youth is going to be a need for schools. I don't think schools are necessarily going to stop. And you know, that's just my opinion on it. You know, I think once because the curve's already started to go downhill, as far as, you know, sort of the trend and the numbers and things like that. It's the second wave that we've got to think about and worry about. You know, and ultimately we'll have a vaccine for this thing, and we'll be able to get it taken care of and put behind us. So I still see masks being a 12 to 18 month type of thing, maybe longer. But, you know, once we have vaccines and stuff like that, I think, you know, it won't even really necessarily be a concern for us too much.
Not to throw in one more thing, but kind of relating to the curve. I know you mentioned that. A lot of things we don't think about, and as you mentioned, the second wave, but curves are literally just the blips in the entire graph, right? What we don't realize is after the curve, there's a long, steady, you know, of people are still going to get this for a long time. Until the vaccine. So you never really take a look at the backside of the curve. And there's a lot of stuff out there, and this is obviously not something I think people are comfortable agreeing with, but where they say more people will get it than not get it, just because we won't have a vaccine and we won't have treatment. The idea is that we just spread out when people get it. You know, and I think if we can kind of try to wrap our heads around that, which is scary to think,
tough,
you know, some people will be asymptomatic, right? And it won't affect them at all. Some people will get it, but majority of the people will end up getting it. It's just spreading it out of when we do. And it's scary to think about. I am curious, as a fashion standpoint, will the Mortal Kombat look come back? Is that what we're all going
to? I've seen some of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've even
anybody?
What's that?
Any closing remarks from anybody?
I don't have anything. Jeremy, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just, you know, I think this whole time has been great for our industry because more people are talking. You know, most people have probably never talked to other people in our industry. You know, there's this stigma of competition, but I think we're all in the same boat. We're all trying to figure it out.
Oh yeah.
You know, I went to PPAI for the first time this year, and the camaraderie was really awesome. I haven't felt that on the apparel side as much in my past. And so I think everyone coming out of this is going to be more knowledgeable. Those who aren't, they're not going to survive, I don't think. You have to do something different than you've been doing. And I think it's good to shake it up and let us re-innovate and come up with new ways to help brands promote and help our clients sell more apparel or whatever they're selling now.
Absolutely. Stephen, anything from you for closing?
No, I appreciate Jeremy being here, and it's awesome just to be able to have different opinions and still be friends with all of you guys. So that's good.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Promo unite.
That's right.
It's definitely something that's here to stay for the time being, and I think we're all still learning and trying to go through the research and just learning as much as we can about it. It becoming a fashion piece in the near future, if it hasn't already. And I think that, you've provided great insight, Jeremy. So I appreciate you being here. Just want to mention again, brought to you by promoshow.com. Guys, if you haven't taken a look at promoshow.com, you really need to get over there. Now that the podcast is over, I'd suggest you stick around if you were checking us out there live. If you weren't checking us out there and you were on the Facebook page, do yourself a favor, open up your browser or open up another tab, go to promoshow.com and check it out. There's over 130 exhibitors there. Meg Erber from SNS Activewear is there. Headwear is there from time to time. There's a bunch of people there, guys. You can get all the information you need to know about all the latest and greatest from your favorite suppliers. Get over there, check them out. There's also a video on the Promo Show Facebook page to show you how to use it if you're a little bit weary about how to use it. And if you don't know the Promo Show Facebook page, just open up Facebook, type in @PromoShowPC, and it'll take you right to the page. Guys, with that being said, really appreciate you all being here. Jeremy, great to see your perspective on things, and just appreciate the feedback, man. And I wish you a lot of success.
Yeah, you as well. Let us all get through this on the other side wearing masks.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Definitely.
Have a good day, y'all.
Yep. Thank you guys very much.